but hey, that's okay. All right. So here are the two terms for today. We're going to mention these two sociologists today. Let me screen mirror. And why they are important to sociology. Hopefully, my PowerPoints don't collapse. All day they've been doing it. I don't understand what's going on. Maybe there's just too much going on with Zoom and I don't know, recordings and airplay, who knows? But we'll figure that out. If I have to dongle it up, I will. But we have Emil Durkheim and C. Wright Mills. We're going to talk about these two a little bit today and their perspectives, their ideas. C. Wright Mills, especially with the sociological imagination. I know I mentioned that before, so please refer back to that. Okay, so there you go. I'll let you guys get working on that. We'll review it and we'll move on. Oh yeah, you were saying that. Oh my gosh.
No, literally, we all failed. Like, she has to like make us take it. Oh, if the license is bad, it's bad. Not like all of us do that.
That's his subject right there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. It's real bad.
Everyone's making some reasons.
What's going on, man? Spider-Man movie. I'm pumped for it. First release. Oh yeah. You play. That's right.
I have a question.
I thought you were waving.
When's some money due?
Huh?
When's some money due?
We'll see if you pass first. So probably at the end of the semester, right?
You pay. You pay after you took my test, right?
There's no test. It's just see if your grades
Because Miss Nestor told me that.
right there. What's that?
Miss Nestor told me that.
Oh,
But she doesn't even know.
Miss Heimbach is the person to go to for that.
Well, Miss Nestor-
Okay, well, Miss Heimbach is the person to go to that. But you need to see what your grades are, see if you pass the course, and if you do, it gets transferred up to Lackawanna. If you want to get the credits, then that's the process. Then you send the money in. But yeah, Miss Heimbach's better to talk to about that. So that will work. All right. So Emil Durkheim, who is he? Why is he important? Go ahead, Leah.
He's a French sociologist who developed a methodology combining empirical research with sociological theory, and empirical research is oriented based on observation of experience.
All right, good job. So a lot of these sociologists we're going to talk about mostly focused during this industrial age. Okay. Those of you have me in American history, this is perfect timing. Really, it is. Okay. So with Emil Durkheim, He was obviously born in France, and this transition to industrialization was occurring in the mid 1800s. And this was a total change in lifestyle for everybody, right? So, mostly focused on agriculture, obviously, and transitioning into industrialization. This is going to totally change everybody's lives and their perspectives on life. Okay. And many of these countries went through capitalism. We all know what capitalism is, right? What is it, Chris? Oh, putting you on the spot here, man. It's like Wolf of Wall Street. Huh? Patriot? Okay. Who wants to help him out here? Who wants to help? Capitalism versus communism. Okay, I guess I can see you're saying that. But what is capitalism? What is it? Someone to help him out. Someone to help him out. Leah, what is capitalism?
It's about money.
Money. Yeah, okay. So private business, private corporation. I have no idea. No idea.
Capitalism is like two more.
You think about it, you let me know that. All right, so capitalism, okay, this is guiding the economy, okay, for many areas all around the world, specifically United States, okay. You know, the United States goes through that industrial age, okay, Great Britain, all these European countries. And we see a lot of new innovations, right? We see a lot of inventions occurring and trying to transition into this industrial age. Okay, but with that, the first comings of capitalism, was it good? Was it great for these working class individuals, these middle class workers? Well, there really was no middle class. No, they're paid really nothing. Okay. They didn't have any type of insurance, right? They had no benefits. They had no vacation days, personal days, you name it. For those you have in the American history, I'm like a broken record here. But it was a terrible, terrible time for these people because they really had no lifestyle. They worked long hours in these factories, these industries. And Durkheim tried to talk about these certain issues that were brought forth from industrialization. Yeah, he experienced it in France, but it was very similar, correlated with the United States. Many of these people didn't have a social life, right? They didn't have the ability to have a break right after work. They didn't have the ability to go home and watch TV and go to entertainment centers. So I even want to hear it.
Oh wait.
What?
Wait. I was thinking of like.
I know you're trying to say.
Anyway, let me finish this because you guys always yell at me for talking all the time, but I want to get through it. Let me get through this stuff. We'll talk about it, Chris. I'm sorry, I just need to get moving here. So with capitalism, he talked about the harsh comings of it, and unfortunately, yeah, we're going to talk about suicide today and how he related capitalism and suicide, and how the first comings of capitalism it caused a lot of people to really forget about their livelihood, right? It really put a distance from their life. They didn't have one, really. They worked, they came home, they slept for a couple hours, went back to work. Okay, they didn't have what we know as what a modern lifestyle is. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So Durkheim, we're going to relate some of his work to the United States and how he believed, you know what, these people that actually did live in these urban areas that were tied together, that were grouped together, they could share some of the same grievances, the same issues, which somewhat helped their, I guess you could say, non-suicidal issues or beliefs or thoughts. People that lived in a rural setting out in the really nowhere land, right? They had no way of discussing these issues and these grievances and these problems. So the further distance away they were from society, the higher chance they were of committing suicide. That's what he talked about. Okay. C. Wright Mills. Anybody else? I know the answer to the first one, but Leah, go ahead.
He was an American sociologist who applied and popularized Max Webster's theories in the United States, which were about power, and applied prominent theories on sociology of knowledge, the political thought, and behavior intellectual, social conflict is caused by diversity in thoughts and beliefs.
Holy cow. Did you understand that?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I put the underscores of what the theories were.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So C. Wright Mills, he talked about the sociological imagination and how we can fit our own lives, not as a global perspective, but as a societal standard, right? So how we could fit ourselves into societal issues, right? There's many examples that you could come up with. One of them that I know that I want to talk about that I experience is the cell phone. I think I do a good job at keeping it away. when I want to try to just relax. But for the most part, I always see myself grabbing my cell phone, right? I always constantly gravitate towards it. I don't know if it's because I'm bored all the time or it's just something that I like looking at. If it's social media or if it's questions that I might have, I just Google it, right? Or if I just want to watch some TikToks, some YouTube videos, who knows? But on average, I can relate that to many people in our society. In the United States, I believe they said on average, on an average day, people pick up their phones and look at it 160 times a day. 160. Can you imagine that? If it's just checking the time, if it's actually watching TikToks or YouTube videos, or just looking at a text message or calling someone. That's amazing, isn't it? That's a lot of time people are picking up their phones to look at it. 75% of people, it's probably like 74 point, it says 74.3 or something, but I'm going to say 75. 75% of people can agree that, you know what, this might be an addiction, right? This might be a problem that everybody faces, that we are just involved in our phone too much. And again, I fall into it. There's many times I'm sitting in a living room with my girlfriend and my dog and my cat, and we're just sitting there. I'm on my phone. She's on her phone. And then I just grasp reality. I'm like, what are we doing? Or why are we just looking at our phone here? This is weird. Why don't we play with the dog? Why don't we talk about our lives? Right? Why don't we talk about our days? Okay, at work. I'm sure you guys all can relate to that, right? What are we doing? Why are we just looking at our phones? Come on, let's go do something. Right? Let's go talk about something. Let's go play a game, whatever it might be. All right, so that's what C. Wright Mills talks about, how we can relate our own personal lives to society. And I think we all can agree our phones is a big influence in our lives. Okay, so moving on here today, I want to talk about Durkheim. If we get to C. Wright Mills, great. If not, I'm not going to get too worried about it. I want to make sure you guys get the assignment because it's going to be due Friday. It's just a page. That's it. It's one writing assignment. That's it. It's only a page. Oh, I know. But I'll give you all day to work on it tomorrow. It's a reading and a writing. You got to read an article and you got to write a page response about it. So we will talk about that then. I got to get moving though right now. So sorry. Here I am, always talking.
Use your self-aware.
I know, right?
I'm pretty sure I was right. It said,
You didn't even give me a response.
nah,
You're just like patriotism.
Imperialism, militarism. It said national pride and patriotism.
That's not capitalism.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say nationalism. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
National pride, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Killing me, Smalls. All right. So here we go. Durkheim. So again, he's trying to relate these societal issues to really how we can apply this to this capitalist industrial era. And again, sociology really emerges from that industrial age. Okay. And how we're gonna try to focus at society as a whole. And really, it took industrialization to see this transition of life. If you think about it, everybody's world just got turned upside down. Most of the time, people are just focused on their farms, focused about themselves, individualism, right? Yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, capitalism comes about. And people decide, you know what, this might be a better opportunity. This might be a better time to make some money, right? And try to dive into these new methods of really making a wage, spending out in the economy, you name it. But with these industrial areas, these business owners, at the time, there was no limitations or regulations on it. So government really didn't have a hold or grasp of society. In all reality, these big business owners, these industrial giants controlled every aspect of life. And you can think about it by the people's long work days, okay, the poor wage that they're making. There was no benefits whatsoever. So in all reality, does it look like we're going back to slavery in a way? At the start of it, yeah, many people compared capitalism, this new industrial wave, at the beginning of it, of industrialization, as slavery, because people didn't have time to go out and really experience life the way it should be. They didn't have the time to, let's say, participate in athletics, go to a sporting event, go to the movies, go to a play, sit around and maybe play some video games. Right, Chris? Maybe go and watch Spider-Man 3. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So Durkheim tried to relate many groups of people and their personal choices towards society. And there's just some examples of it. So more likely to commit a crime, let's say male Protestants who are wealthy and unmarried. Well, they don't have anybody tying them down, right? They, well, let's say religion isn't a strong root in their life. Okay, maybe they skip church every now and then, especially in the 1800s. Okay, religion was still focused heavily in people's lives. So you know what? Male Protestants a little bit different than Catholics and Jewish people at that time. They didn't really have that core traditional values, those rules that they kind of guide by. And if they're unmarried, well, you know how men are, right? So less likely to commit male Jews and Catholics who are poor and married. So again, they have those traditional values in their life. Okay, they have a strong religious background that has strong guiding principles and traditions and rules. So you know what? Maybe they're less likely to commit crimes. Again, looking at the individual and how we can apply it to society. Does that make sense? Is it clear? I used to have a professor that used to say that all the time. I don't like making fun of him, but it was just funny how he said, "Is it clear?" Middle East. He's from the Middle East. He's a nice guy, professor magistrate. He's awesome. All right, so moving on here, like I mentioned, Durkheim's big study was with suicide and how capitalism kind of brought that about at large waves. Okay, way more than what obviously they were experienced before this wave of industrialization. And he also tried to compare it to rural settings and urban areas. If people were more brought together with community guidelines, maybe they have social groups, then it's less likely that they're going to commit suicide. In these rural settings, they might not have that. And let's face it, I know my dad, whenever I wanted to talk to someone, hey, I have an issue, I want to talk to someone. What, you a girl or something? It's like, come on, dad, let's calm down, right? So we have those beliefs that maybe in their family ties, let's not be weak, right? Let's be stronger. Let's try to face these issues ourselves, which in many cases, that is a good lesson to learn. But sometimes we might need to just break down and talk to someone, right? I think we all can agree to that. Okay, so that's kind of what Durkheim was describing. So anyway, here's some factors of depression that he described in his modern capitalist societies. So again, this is kind of the beginnings of it. And we can relate it to today's world as well. But for the most part, this is how he describes it in the 1850s, right? The mid 1800s. So individualism. Obviously, we know capitalism is strong individualism. We want to focus on ourselves. We want to make a name for ourselves. Okay. We want to try to inspire to do great things. Obviously, wealth correlates with success, doesn't it, in a capitalist society? Right, Chris? Yeah, if you're making more money, most likely you're going to be happier in a capitalist economy, a capitalist society. Other societies around the world, that doesn't mean anything. You might look at your family, you might look at non-materialistic items and say, you know what, this makes me happy, right? This makes me a better man. Okay. But in a capitalist society, especially in the beginnings of it, people were just trying to seek out the best opportunity to make money, make wealth. And the more wealth, the more power you have, right? That means the happier you're probably going to be. But again, to strive for that greatness, you have to take a lot of time into it. You got to put a lot of effort in it. Right? It's just not going to come and fall in your hands, right? Unless your father was a big business owner and he just said, here you go. You just totally run into the ground, or individualism, right? You could just totally fail or sell it. Who knows? So anyway, with that being said, this caused a lot of distress and anxiety and depression for many people. Think about it. If you aspire to do great things, okay, and like I just mentioned, a lot of these business owners, they kind of just hand it down to the next kin, right? The next person in their family. So in all reality, these people that have high hopes, that try to do and work their hardest to move up that social ladder, that working ladder, it might not fall to them. So what do? They fall into depression, right? They know that their goals will never be achievable. I always think of myself, oh, you know what? I'm going to play in the pros one day, play professional football. I'm 5'6". Come on, come on. It's not going to happen, right? All right. 2, excessive hope. Again, this kind of falls into individualism. So excessive hope is that idea where we're going to try to be the best person we can be and try to achieve these capitalist games, as Durkheim expresses, where we're going to create this new innovative method and business that is going to just revolutionize the world, right? For some people, I know like Elon Musk, he's a great man. He talks about how, obviously the future with Tesla, electric cars, okay, providing satellite internet for people all around the world. He has these high hopes and he's achieving them. But at one time, especially in 2008, when the recession hit, they almost failed. Okay. The market crashed right underneath him. And it almost looked like he was going to fail terribly. I'm just using him as an example because he is a huge industrial tech giant right now and his upcoming. And with that being said, a lot of the people that he looked towards for hope for his leadership, like Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, he said, you know what, we shouldn't just have these private owners, business people messing around with space. This isn't good, right? These rockets could explode, could blow up. There's too many pitfalls to it that we shouldn't allow just business owners, like these private people in the private sector, let them run this course. This could be traumatic. This could be a failure at a global scale if he messes up, right? If he sends, let's say, a rocket in orbit, and who knows what could happen with it? Who knows, it will crash land somewhere. Obviously, in a larger city, could result in a lot of deaths. But anyway, like I mentioned, his excessive hope, trying to become this strong leader, this billionaire, trillionaire, really. His leaders, his people that he looked at, his heroes, didn't even admire him. They thought he was doing a terrible job. But look at him now. He's one of the richest men in the world. 3, we have too much freedom. Okay. So with modern capitalism, there's a lot of times where we just dread work, right? We dread thinking about the next day of school. I think we all can agree to that. Oh man, that calculus test. We didn't want to take it, I'm sure, right, Sarah? Yeah, and you said you didn't do too well. Oh, okay. Well, you never know. No, success hope, right? I'm just kidding. But with that being said, we have too much time on our hands. Once the school day ends, what, 2:35 for you guys? You have all that time to just think and ponder about the future. What might happen? Okay. Your objectives for the next day. Are you going to complete them? Are you going to do well on your test? You have a soccer game coming. Are you going to perform well? Right? You just sit and think about the repercussions of, let's say, life, let's say work, let's say school, sports, and we don't actually enjoy our lifestyle. Does that make sense? Okay, I know on Sunday I get the Sunday blues all the time. Like, oh, I gotta go to school. Gotta get my lessons in order. Sunday's ruined. I can't stand it. I know I do that a lot. And rather Sunday's a whole day to yourself. You can do whatever you want, right? It's almost like a Saturday, but obviously you can't stay up too late because you have school the next day. But I just sit and get the Sunday blues. Oh man, gotta go to school. But anyway, too much freedom. We have that time where we just sit and think about what could possibly go wrong, right? What is in our way that we need to try to accomplish. All right, moving on. 4, atheists. What? Atheists. So Durkheim did believe that, he was an atheist, right? He didn't believe that religion, gods were a thing. But at the same time, he believed that, religion did bring communal guidelines and traditions and values to people's lives that help them through scenarios, through situations. So even though he didn't believe in a certain religion, he admired it. Does that make sense? He believed that people should group together, should come together, talk about certain issues, and share some similar backgrounds or guidance, right? Okay. Even though he didn't believe, right, in religion and these types of things, he did believe and admire that having this core group of people coming together for a common purpose is important so that we can use these social groups as a way to accomplish what we need to achieve, right? Okay. All right. So 5, weakening the nation and the family. So this is another instance where Durkheim believed because these countries were going through such rapid change that this was going to lead to something else. Competition, right? Amongst these other countries. You're going to have, in his instance, France competing with Germany, next door neighbor. They share a border, right? They share a border. And which 2 countries do you think hated each other the most in the First World War and the Second World War? Germany and France. Why? Because they competed against one another. He thought because this new industrial age, people would put the country, their nation, in front of their life more than their actual family, more than their actual individualistic self, right? Okay. They thought, you know what? Our country is what we need to desire. We need to try to focus more on society, our country, our advancement to make sure we stay ahead of the competition. And people lost family values. People started, okay, obviously working towards achieving this goal rather than being, let's say, a father to their family, rather than being a good community member, all right, to, let's say, their neighbors. So that's exactly what he was saying with that. They're having a different priority set. And he obviously didn't believe that this was something that would help society at all. And what happens, right? Within 60 years, when Durkheim came up with this idea, well, he was born in 1850. So what happened in his lifetime, around his lifetime? World War I, right? He literally saw and kind of and seen this coming from the very beginnings of industrialization. And then eventually World War II. I don't think he lived that long, but even a worse conflict because people, strong nationalism. Oh, there you go. There you brought it back into it. You know what? Maybe you did see the lesson coming from the very beginning. Holy cow, man. Here I thought you were totally off in the wrong direction. And you just surprised me. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Last thing, guys. I didn't get to the assignment. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Don't think about it. Don't work on it tomorrow. You don't have to. I'll present it tomorrow. You can work on all day. That's fine. Friday we'll have it too. So real quick, this was his idea. We can apply it to the United States. These were suicide rates. Okay. In the US, what correlation do we have? Well, look at the rural areas, right? West Virginia, definitely a huge rural area. The Midwest, right? Moving out into the West. All these locations, they don't really have a huge industrial urban city, right? These dark red states, they don't. Okay. But when we look at the clearer states like Pennsylvania, New York, California, Texas, Florida, they're a little bit lighter, meaning that there's not that many suicide rates. Why? Because there's bigger cities there. There's more people. It's more populated. People can join social groups. All right. Sorry. See you. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's lunch, right? Right, Tegan? All right. See you guys.
Mr. Fight's class report to Mrs. Clements' room. Miss Watson